Welcome to the Jamodi podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the Jamodi podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. When I ask coaches what's the one thing that makes their program different, I mean, you can take that in a lot of ways, all right? You could take that culture, you could take that with a style of play, but so I'll leave it pretty open to you. What's one thing that, besides now that being state champs, that makes your program different?
We talked about those feedback forms earlier, and that's a question that we actually have on the form. You know, what makes Lake Highlands basketball different? We're really proud. We have 5 core values. Family, work ethic, enthusiasm, accountability, and appreciation. But family is number one. And I come from a big family. My mom had 9 brothers and sisters. My grandfather had a family business. That's always, family's been really important to me. And we preach it a lot. We use the game of basketball to teach life lessons and to teach what having a great family, being a great dad, being a great husband. Basketball can teach you so many great life lessons in that sense. And so our kids, they come out of each season and they feel like they're truly family with their teammates, with their coaches. And I think you brought it up earlier. Like, a lot of times we have these core values or we have these sayings or slogans, but how do you really implement it? How do you make it a daily habit? How do you make it something that the kids can, like, it's tangible? One of the things that we do that I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on. So when we start practice, like when we start official practice, like, you get whatever, like 10 practices before your first scrimmage, we have a core value for each day. So let's say our first practice, it's always going to be family. So we always put 20 up on the board, like under home fouls. That's how many sprints we're going to run at the end of practice.
Nice.
So whatever core value we have that day, we tell them this is what family looks like on the basketball court. It's sacrificing. You're going to dive on the floor for a loose ball. It's pointing at a teammate when they give you a great pass. It's lifting somebody up when they're down. It's taking a charge. That's a sacrifice. That's what families do. And we give a list. I mean, there's more things on there that if they do it well in practice, we knock the number down. And it's not going to be perfect. Sometimes families fight. Sometimes families have disagreements. You got to work through that. You got to find your way through that. And so sometimes there's things that we may add to that number. Well, at the end of practice, they look, okay, there's the number. We got 8, and we'll shoot free throws if they can knock some off, or they'll run them. But that's been a great way for us to take that core value and make it tangible, right? Maybe another one we talked about earlier is accountability. So, the next practice, it may be accountability. Well, we put 20 up on the board and we tell them, this is what a team that is accountable looks like. Somebody didn't do their rep. Is the coach having to tell them to do push-ups, or are you going to hold them accountable? Are you talking on defense? Are you holding your teammate accountable? Is he where he's supposed to be? Are you coaching each other? And then I think the biggest thing is, like, praising it when it's done right. Right. And the kids love it. They start, with the charge thing. It's like they'll take a charge every other time. Coach, I took a charge, knock one off,
Start flopping all over the place.
Yeah. So, but I do think that's a way where we really take these values, take these culture things, and, like, find a way to make it like, hey, here it is, guys. Here's what it looks like. We can talk about it, but are you doing it? And that gives them a way to understand, okay, well, we're talking about family. This is really what a family looks like on the basketball court.
Coach, that's really good because it reminds me of Danny Henderson's Gasser's idea. It's very similar, 20 on, and
Yeah.
all throughout he can add to it
Yep.
for lack of or take away. But you know, when you were talking about family, my question was, how do you act, or was going to be, how do you actually create that atmosphere? Because so many people break out the family, and
Yeah.
I would imagine in war they become a family. In a firehouse, I think football is great at creating that type of feeling within their guys. I found it harder in basketball to really create that, but you nailed it with like defining, and you can take this with any part of culture. It's not enough just to have the word and to break out to it or to have
Yeah.
it on a t-shirt. It has to be defined, and then you have to hold them accountable to those standards and principles. I love the idea of, so like we have 5 words, and these are words that it's taken some time, and me and my coaches and players meeting together, not just a great acronym, even though there's some awesome ones, but this is actually how we talk. This is what we believe. These are the things we live out here daily. So let's define them and let's hold each other accountable. But I love the idea of using that Gasser method to reinforce it daily, but it doesn't work unless you define what it like. I wrote down what family looks like. As
Correct.
a coach, I need to know what excellence looks like, what humility looks like, what toughness, what enthusiasm. There's a lot of crossover, I think, between cultures, but some people like yourself have figured out methods to really make it come alive in their gym. And so, Coach, that's the second thing already that I'll be stealing from you or borrowing from this call.
Yeah, I love it. And I think, the more you can kind of show them like how it works on the day-to-day basis. And then the biggest thing you do for your kids is model, right? Like who you are every day, how you interact with people. That's going to drive your culture more than anything. How you interact with your coaches, your kids. But I love it. Like humility. If I was doing that, I would, talk about how are you responding to coaching? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to take?
When you hit a shot, what are you doing? Is it all about me, or are you pointing to your passer? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So my wheels start spinning, and I love, thinking about that because, culture is this, everybody talks about it. Everybody preaches. It's super important. It's everything.
You have one. It's either good or bad.
Yeah. But how do you do it? How
Yep.
do you make it, sort of like tangible and able for your kids to understand it? Could they verbalize it? Like if I said, what does humility, what does appreciation look like to you? Can they really, if they can really talk about it and say, this is what it looks like for our team and our program, then you're headed in the right direction.
Another thing you said, that a light bulb moment and a great reminder, was celebrating when you see those positive, and that's a brilliance too in the Gasser method, is you're taking a possible consequence away. So in that case, you're celebrating it. But even in our day-to-day life, like I think my eyes and your eyes are probably similar. Something about coaching, you just search for negatives. Like my eyes will find everything we're doing wrong quickly. And then I have this temporary blindness to what I actually want happening right in front of me. And I think that's a great reminder. Like the moment that you have enthusiasm, and then another reminder, the moment that you have something like enthusiasm in your culture, more is caught than taught. So John Mosley, the guy from Last Chance U, I was able to have a hoops talk with him, which was really fun. And
awesome.
And he's the real deal. Like, it's always fun when you see those kind of people. You don't know what's for the camera, what's not, like real deal. But he said one of his pet peeves was coaches having a coffee cup at practice because it doesn't scream like I'm ready, I'm in it. It screams, I need this to get going. And it's like, as I'm like on the call with him, like, but all that to say is, got to celebrate it, but then you have to be living it out yourself. So if you don't hold yourself to high standards, man, maybe there's a reason why our culture feels flat or it's not alive. Like turn that ownership right back around at ourselves and make sure we're possessing it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Dean Smith guy, and that's really, coming back from him of praising the acts you want repeated. Um, and I'm really big on that, and it's very easy for all of us. And I see it not just on the basketball court, but in school every day. There's a lot of things that we can be negative about, and a lot of things that maybe aren't perfect in everybody's job. But if you want your kids to have great attitudes and to be good leaders, and you got to find the positives every day, and you got to find, if there's something you really want to see your kids do, well, man, when they do it, you got to celebrate it. You have to acknowledge it. And when you start doing that, and when your kids do it, it's a powerful thing, and it builds confidence. It helps them understand what you want, and understand how to win, and that's the end goal. I mean, let's figure out what it takes, and when we do it, let's be enthusiastic, let's praise it, and let's repeat it, and let's keep doing it.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.